My name is Mahnoor Siddiq and I am here to present a survey research analysis of effectiveness of vocabulary learning through English Vocabulary Corpus. The co-authors are Ikra Miriam Kandil Arif, Shahzeb Shafi and Muhammad Hamza Masood. So basically, what is corpus? Corpus in linguistics, if we talk about linguistics, so a corpus or a text is a language resource consisting of a large and structured set of texts. In corpus linguistics, what we have to do basically that they are used to do statistical analysis and hypothesis testing. So checking occurrences or validating linguistic rules within a specific language territory. So basically a corpus is an entire large collection of digitalized text analyzed with the help of computers. So for this purpose, we have extracted EVC, that is the English Vocabulary Corpus. 1 million English Vocabulary Corpus was extracted from books, from magazines, from transcript of TV shows, transcript of movies, and transcript of TV dramas. So, and we have selected 5 native English language speaking countries, that is America, Canada, England, Australia, and New Zealand. And all the categories were taken 4% from each country, and individual contribution of each country was 20. So all categories were taken equally from each country. These are a research question, that is, what is the effectiveness of EVC in language pedagogy, and how can vocabulary be learned through utilizing corpus? And the research objectives were to investigate about effectiveness and productivity of EVC, to explore the use of EVC for learning vocabulary. And there were some delimitations, that is, the study is delimited to learning and teaching GRE vocabulary items, and this study has only utilized EVC, that is English Vocabulary Corpus, for teaching vocabulary. Moving towards the methodology, so basically this is a quantitative research, and we have the 13 questions were asked from them, and questionnaire, basically a questionnaire was distributed among 100 students of BS English language final year, and their ages were between 20 to 25 years, and the questionnaire, their responses were collected through online Google Forms on the topic effectiveness of vocabulary learning through English Vocabulary Corpus. First of all, we taught them what is EVC, and then we collected the responses of them. And actually there were 3 slots of 1 credit hours. The questionnaire that we have designed was according to the demands of research, and vocabulary items from GRE syllabus and were taken for teaching. Then moving towards their ages, as I've already told you that their ages were between 20 to 25 years old. 37% were male members and 63% female were participated in this study. This is basically pie chart. Okay, as we have already talked about, that 13 questions were there in a questionnaire. So I'm here representing those responses with the help of pie charts, and I'm explaining them as well. So the first question was, do you have understood the use of English vocabulary corpus well? So the question was asked to analyze the understanding of participants about EVC, that is English Vocabulary Corpus. The answer of this question was also important for the reliability and validity of English Vocabulary Corpus. The responses given by students were as 61 students stated strongly agree, 24 students said agree, 9 students stayed neutral, 5 students were favoring disagree, and the 1 student narrated strongly disagree. So this shows that most of the people understood the use of EVC, and it can be said that the results generated are from the class of students who were aware of what is asked. So the second question asked was, most of the words you learned through EVC were not learned by you before. And this question was asked to analyze the understanding of the words to be taught by EVC, that is English Vocabulary Corpus. The answer of this question was also important for generations of results by English Vocabulary Corpus. The responses given by students were as 58 students stated strongly agree, 31 students said agree, 4 students stayed neutral, 5 students were favoring disagree, and 2 students narrated strongly disagree. So this shows that most of the words were never remembered by the students and they have not encountered by the meanings or context of the word. So it also helps us to make results that the use of EVC can be easily analyzed with accuracy in results. The third statement asked was the use of EVC was easy to understand. So this statement was asked to analyze the understanding about the difficulty in the use of English vocabulary corpus. The answer of this question helped in understanding the difficulty level of English vocabulary corpus. The responses given by students were 40 students stated strongly agree, 36 students said agree, 2 students stayed neutral, 16 students were favoring disagree, and 6 students narrated strongly disagree. So basically this shows that EVC is overall easy to understand. Do you think that English vocabulary corpus was effective in vocabulary learning or not? So this question was asked to judge the effectiveness of EVC, whether it is effective or not. So the answer of this question helped in analyzing the productivity of EVC. The responses given by students were as 57 students actually strongly agree, 22 students said agree, 10 students stayed neutral, 8 students were favoring disagree, and 3 students narrated strongly disagree. This shows that EVC is overall effective for learning vocabulary items. So basically the responses were positive. Moving toward the fifth question, the fifth statement asked was EVC helps in understanding the meanings of words easily. This question was asked to judge the effectiveness of EVC for learning the meanings of complex vocabulary items. The answer of this question helped in understanding the productivity of EVC or productive nature or creative nature of EVC. So the responses given by students were 50 students were stated strongly agree, and 25% of them said agree, 8 students stayed neutral, 11 were favoring disagree, and 6 students narrated strongly disagree. So basically this shows that EVC is productive in learning the meanings of vocabulary item. Then the next question was, EVC makes the better understanding of the context of words. This statement was asked to judge the effectiveness of EVC for learning the context of vocabulary items. The answer of this question helped in understanding the productivity of EVC in terms of context of the words. So the responses given by the students were as 31 students stayed strongly agree, 36 students said agree, 13 students stayed neutral, 14 of them were favoring disagree, and 6 students narrated strongly disagree. So this shows that EVC is productive in learning the particular context of vocabulary items as well. The seventh statement was about EVC or English Vocabulary Corpus was useful in learning multiple contexts of the word. This statement was asked to judge the effectiveness of EVC for learning different contexts of vocabulary items. The answer of this question helped in understanding the productivity of EVC in terms of multiple contexts of learning. So here in this case, multiple contexts are involved. So the responses given by students were as 37 students said agree, 37 students said agree, 37 students said strongly agree, 7 students stayed neutral, 13 students were favoring disagree, and 6 students narrated strongly disagree. So this shows that EVP is productive in learning the multiple contexts of vocabulary items as well. The eighth statement was about learning vocabulary items by use of EVC is a creative process. Is it or not? So this statement was asked to see the creativity in the use of EVC. The answer of this question helped in checking the creativity of EVC for exploring meaning and context. So the responses was given by the students, whereas 45 students state strongly agree, and they stated strongly agree. 35 students said agree, 2 students stayed neutral, 8 students were favoring disagree, and 10 students narrated strongly disagree. So this shows that the use of EVC is a creative process. EVC has made, the next statement was about that EVC has made learning vocabulary items interesting or not. So this was very important question. Uh, this statement was asked to see the interest of the student, whether they found it interesting or not. So the answer of this question helped in analyzing the overall interest of the students. So the responses given by students were 39 students stated strongly agree, 43 students said agree, 10 students stayed neutral, 8 students were favoring disagree, and no students narrated strongly agree. Strongly disagree. So this shows that students have taken interest in the use of EVC as it was an interesting process. Moving towards the 10th statement. The 10th statement was about the process of vocabulary teaching is better than traditional methods. So this statement was asked to compare the use of EVC with traditional methods of vocabulary learning. So the answer of this question helped in analyzing the comparative difference in learning vocabulary items through traditional methods and EVC. The responses given by students were as 48 students stated strongly agree, 41 students said agree, 2 students stayed neutral, 7 students were favoring disagree, and 2 students narrated strongly disagree. This shows that EVC is better in learning vocabulary items than traditional method. So yes, moving towards the next question. EVC helps in remembering words for larger time. So this statement was asked to check the impact of EVC and on the cognition of students. So the answer of this question helped in analyzing the visual impact of vocabulary learning through EVC. That's what's the visual impact that they get, as it helps in association of meanings for remembering the responses given by students, whereas 37 students stated strongly agree, 52 students said agree, 5 students were neutral, 2 students were favoring disagree, and 4 students narrated strongly disagree. So this shows that EVP is better in learning vocabulary as it helps in remembering vocabulary items for larger time, and it helps in retaining meanings and context. Moving towards 12th question or the 12th statement. The 12th statement was about, do you think that EVC should be taught at institutions? So this question was asked to know if the use of EVC be granted at academic institution for vocabulary training or learning. So the answer of this question helped in exploring the interest of students in learning vocabulary. So the responses given by students were as 36 students stated strongly agree, 41 students said agree, 6 students stayed neutral, 12 students were favoring disagree, and 5 students narrated strongly disagree. So it symbolizes that EVC can be used at institutions and it will generate better results. Moving toward our last statement. Basically, our last statement was about that you will use EVC in future for vocabulary items. So this question was asked to know if the students would use EVC by their own for vocabulary learning. So the answer of this question helped in exploring the use of EVC by the students for future correspondence to learn vocabulary through EVC. The responses given by students were as 51% or 51 students stated strongly agree, 42 students said agree, 5 students stayed neutral, and no students were favoring disagree, and 2 students narrated strongly disagree. So it symbolizes that EVC would be used by students to learn vocabulary in future. So basically these were the questions, and these were close-ended questions. These 13 questions were close-ended questions. And moving towards our findings. So a table is being generated and to express results of all 13 questions at a single platform. So this platform is used to see all the information at a single point. The results of 13 survey questions in the form of table is analyzed as follows. Then moving towards the conclusion. In a nutshell, the discussion can be summed up at the point that the English Vocabulary Corpus, that is EVC, was liked by the students to be taught at institutions for teaching vocabulary. The use of EVC was creative and it produced effective results on cognition. The use of EVC was creative and it helps in the better understanding of meaning, particular context, and multiple contexts of the words. EVC was liked by students and they are most likely to use it as academia for learning vocabulary. EVC is better than the traditional methods of learning vocabulary as it is creative and easy to understand. Futuristic version, if we talk about futuristic version, so its future implications of the EVC for future correspondence of results, it can be taught at university level as the students have liked this method of learning. The future researches include a survey on primary, elementary, secondary, and high level schools. It can be used for experimental data gathering and other kinds of studies. So, the future of corpus linguistics is open to exploration. This is a significance of study that EVC can be utilized for teaching and learning vocabulary. And this study has implications in EAL, that is English, EAL, ESL, and EFL. English as an additional language, English as a second language, and English as a foreign language. And its importance in curriculum planning and management, in the digital learning using corpus is the latest trend in pedagogy. So these are futuristic vision, which I already told you. Thanks. Thank you.